We tailored our SDKs, software development kits, to meet their use cases, and that's how we went on at the next stage.
Welcome back to another installment of the Next Gen Case Study Series. On today's episode, we have Colin Constable, who is the co-founder and CTO of AtSign, a company that's focused on revolutionizing the internet by enhancing security and privacy for both individuals and devices. With over 40 years of experience, Colin has held prominent positions in companies such as Juniper Networks and Credit Suisse, and at AtSign, he co-invented the AT protocol, designed to provide a secure, decentralized way for devices and people to communicate. Colin's passion lies in creating innovative solutions that minimize the risks associated with online data sharing and IoT vulnerabilities, which is why we're excited to have him on the show. Colin, welcome to the program.
Thanks so much, Devin. Good to be here.
Yeah, the pleasure's mine. I'm really excited to get into some of the work that you're doing with AtSign here. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, Colin, let's start with maybe a quick couple of minutes on who you are, where you came from, and how you landed as the co-founder and CTO at AtSign.
Sure thing. I started my career a very long time ago in a telco called British Telecom. So you can probably tell I'm a Brit. These days I live in California, but I started in British Telecom, and I was there for over a decade doing telecom stuff. And they wanted to make me a manager, and that was not going to work for me. I'm a technologist. I want to be a technologist. And so I jumped ship from British Telecom to Credit Suisse, where I did sort of system admin, technical work there, and ended up as the head of network technology at Credit Suisse. And we actually outsourced to a company called British Telecom. So we actually outsourced to my original employer, which is highly amusing. But I learned a huge amount there, and was lucky enough to bump into a guy called Pradeep Sindhu, who was the co-founder and um, the CTO of Juniper Networks, and ended up at Juniper for a number of years, which was a lot of fun. And along the way, I met my one of my co-founders, Kevin Nichols. When we were doing the outsource to British Telecom, he was actually at British Telecom, and the friendship sort of blossomed from there. And about a decade ago, Kevin and I were actually arguing about the state of the internet, and it literally was over a decade ago now. And that was really the birthplace of AdSign. And the argument went something like this: the internet sucks. I'm like, okay, I agree. Why does it suck? Because every time you want to get a new service, you go to a new website, you get a new application, and what's the first thing it does? Well, it asks you for your name, your address, your email address, your phone number, then prove it. And that we still do today, and it drives me and it drove Kevin absolutely bonkers. Why do I have to log into every application? Why do I have to log into the internet all the time? Why can't the internet log into me? Um, Turn the problem on its head. Now we both had a lot of experience in identity and identity management, and I think that's like a golf swing. It's impossible. Uh, there's no way to get it right. So Kevin used to argue with me that I said it. I'll tell you, it was definitely Kevin that said, "Okay, so what's the simplest way to assert an identity on the internet?" And over many coffees, we figured out what that was. It's just a unique string. So yeah, if you're at Devon and I'm at Colin, and you know I'm at Colin and I know you're at Devon, then we should be able to communicate. And how do you do that securely was the challenge. Now,
Hmm.
back a decade ago, the answer was blockchain. Yeah, in fact, the answer to everything was blockchain a decade ago. So guess what? We started working with blockchain and DNS, and there's probably a few companies out there still doing blockchain and DNS. So the problem with blockchain and DNS is that DNS, the domain name system, is particularly inflexible, and it takes a long time for things to propagate. And blockchain similarly, depending on how you're proving what you're doing. So we said this is not going to scale. Me with a telco guy hat on said, this is not going to scale to sort of planetary scale. So let's just put it to bed. So we did. And then 5 years later, we looked at the problem again. I said a lot of things have changed, and we all of a sudden knew it was possible. So that's how AdSign started. It was literally over an argument. All right, how are we going to how we how the internet sucks and how we gonna fix it.
So many amazing companies have started over a barroom fight.
Yeah, exactly. You know what? Yeah, we,
Uh,
we were having coffee, but I mean, yeah, it was definitely started with an argument, which is always a good thing. We were actually in Silicon Valley at the time, so yeah, the environment helps as well.
okay, so we have this major problem on the internet
Yep,
that we can't communicate properly or we can't connect with each other in a secure way.
yep,
And so you go through the experience of trying some things, they don't work, you wait some time, technology evolves, all of a sudden a
yep.
solution becomes possible. Now we execute. Who
Yep,
needs this? Where does this go? Because this, to me, it sounds like this, the whole internet needs it, but that isn't necessarily a customer. So where does the business,
100%.
where's the business case in all of it?
Yeah, where's the business cases? Yeah, that's what everybody's looking for. So it's a great technology idea is no good unless anybody's going to buy it or use it, right? So um, we knew for certain that we needed to speak to people that would understand what we're trying to do and then put some money into it. So that's our first challenge, right? We knew how to solve the problem. The two things that we were looking for that sort of allowed us to think, oh, this is definitely possible, was probably worth mentioning. So, number one, we knew if you're going to have secure communications, you needed to have encryption keys at the edge, and that was not possible over a decade ago because encryption keys took too long to develop, and so you'd have to have a big server in the middle to deal with that. And the problem with that is, whoever cut the keys has access to all your communication. So keys cut by you, cryptographic keys cut by you, and you not being patient was the original problem. Nobody's going to wait 20 minutes. But these days, uh, even a SIM card can cut a key, a very strong cryptographic key in maybe sub-second. So that was solved. We were using DNS as a sort of database, a global scale database, and in-memory databases are now a thing. So guess what? We have a directory service, and it's not powered by DNS; it's powered by Redis, an in-memory database that can scale both horizontally and vertically. So both those things are cool. What we needed was the only thing that was missing really was an internet protocol to join those two ideas together. Can you look somebody up? At Devon, at Colin. So we need a directory for that can scale. And if we're going to communicate, we need to have keys. We can have keys because we can cut keys at the edge. We need to have a protocol, and protocols are not easy to write. I mean, I don't think um, anybody's embarked on writing a brand new protocol from scratch. I mean, there was literally nothing we could use. We had to write it from scratch. Um, we knew it was going to take a few years, and that needs investors that understand that world. And so we tried to find some investors that would understand what we're doing, and we were very lucky because of our backgrounds that we met the right people at the right time. It's a consistent story in the AtSign story, and if you're an entrepreneur, you need to find those consistently find magical moments. We call those moments at AtSign at magic, and
I love that.
it's just that magic. You just got to find the right, and then when you see it, you recognize it, and then you grasp it, and hold on to it. So one of those first magical moments was meeting our chairwoman. We were in the Four Seasons Hotel, and Kim Perticue, our chairwoman, is somebody that has huge industry background. She used to run the largest group in Juniper Networks, the routing team, Juniper Networks, and then helped Kevin Johnson as CEO. So she knows the industry very well. She dropped what we were doing straight away, and without even asking myself and my Barbara, our CEO, Kevin, our co-founder, said, would you like to be our chairwoman?" And we just knew implicitly that if she said yes, it would make a huge difference. And guess what it did? Investors came in, and we got investment to write the protocol. And the next question is, who's going to consume it? So our first thought was consumers would like to manage their own privacy. And you're going to remember this is in 2019. And by 2020, COVID was coming in. I think more people were trying to find toilet paper than they were trying to manage their privacy.
Right.
Um, and yet sometimes things come out of left field. So although the technology hasn't changed at all, we made a pivot to use the technology, but in the world of things rather than people. So originally our target was help developers write applications for people. But our focus for the technology is people, entities, and things. And so that pivot proved to be very useful, right? So if you want to get hold of a thing on the internet and it's your data and you want to control it, then probably you want it to be private and secure. And so embedding our technology into people that are really making things that are connected on the internet was our strategy. And again, sort of App Magic kicked in quite nicely for us, and we met people that wanted to do exactly that, and we tailored our SDKs, software development kits, to meet their use cases, and that's how we went on at the next stage.
So if, maybe I'm mistaken here. Are you part of why our fridges are connected to the internet now?
Well, I would, if any manufacturers of fridges or any other white goods are listening, the way you do it currently is almost definitely not the way you should be doing it, because the customer is not in control. And with AtSign, we really want to put the owner of the data, i.e., the person using the fridge, or maybe more famously recently, washing machine sending out gigabytes of data to the manufacturer just seems unreasonable, but is happening. And we would like those manufacturers to put that, the ownership is with the owner of the machine, and put that ownership into their hands, so they can see what's going on and see who they can entrust with that data. So it's really about data ownership and making the user experience really, really easy for people to own and see their data, and make sure data is only being shared with people they trust.
Right. Okay. So there's a couple of years of this development to create protocol that suits
Yes.
the function of all of this, and now it's time to kind of take it to market. So what was your
Yep.
approach to, the first handful of clients being this scrappy startup with some backing, and I get the members of your team also have a pretty diverse network, and I'm sure that
Yes.
that lended to it. So
Yep.
so what was the approach now to acquiring that first handful of customers?
So first of all, find our strategy is really being embedding our technology in somebody else's product or goods or service. So make sure it's really easy for them to do that. So classically, you would make sure that you have sample code. Everything we do is open source, so you can go to GitHub and see all of our source code, and you can see really easy, simple sample code to get going. But then it's a case of, how do you find these entrepreneurs with ideas of what if I could do this, what if I could do that, and the only thing holding me back is I can't get data from one place to the other securely. And you just got to go out and meet as many people as you can, and use your networking to say, do you know any entrepreneurs that are struggling with getting data between X and Z and making sure it's private and secure? And it's amazing how many people come out of the woodwork. And then it's finding, once you found one or two, then are there any similarities? And what's the keyword that sparks those similarities? So I'll give you an example, right? So we found pretty quickly that we could use our technology to get remote access to devices, even if they were behind a firewall, even if they were on Starlink. As long as there was as long as there was an internet connection, you'd be able to get remote access to the device. And the keyword there was Starlink. So we literally just did a post on LinkedIn and said, you can get access to your devices behind the Starlink, and would that be useful? And lots of customers come forward and say, but that's not possible. Like, but it is. What if it was? So the use case is sort of, you just have to keep trying to find those patterns. So we have customers now that install all the software on a Raspberry Pi device, And whereas they used to have to go to site to set it all up, they configure it up, ship it out. Somebody gets the package, they plug it in, and they've got remote access to whatever they've been plugged into. These sort of, you got to listen really careful to the customer use cases and then publish those use cases. I mean, maybe not using the customer's names, but publish those use cases out on your website. And that's how you get the flywheel moving.
There was a headline that I read probably 2 days ago at most
Yep.
about how traditional marketing is dead and the idea of creating a community is
Yep.
um, it's phasing itself out because it's
Yep.
starting to feel very artificial, just like, marketing or marketers kill
100%.
marketing, and
Yep.
that's what it is. So you're the second person that I've talked to so far in the last 4 months of of us doing this that has pointed to creating a playground, a
Yep.
place where you can go, take this thing, mess around with it and see how it works, and then there becomes a necessity. Okay, this is exactly what we need. We need to put it now into practice, and that's where the business case comes from. Is okay,
Yep.
now we can create something that suits that. And then you're saying like further to that, let's take that, publish it, let the world know that this is one of the ways that you can use this technology
100%.
so everybody else that needs that can discover that. So that's really cool. I
Yeah,
imagine though,
discovery is way more interesting than trying to read somebody else's take on it, right? Finding your own use case and discovery is way more exciting. And yeah, we all want to have exciting lives. Um, I'll give you another little story, which is really, really, really cool. So yeah, one of these people had seen this Starlink um, post that we made on LinkedIn. They experimented and discovered that, oh, they could actually do what they wanted to do to solve the problem for them. But it meant deploying another box. So another box on their remote sites. And they said, like, can you speak to the manufacturer of the box I actually want to get access to? And yeah, from there, obviously great things happen because whoever's selling the box that the person wants to get access to, if we can embed that software onto that, then that solves many other people's problems. So it's discover your use cases, right? So
right.
and you can't discover all of them. I often say to our customers, like, you're the expert. Yeah, we're providing the tooling, but there's many more use cases for this technology than we could ever imagine, and we don't know which ones are going to be more important than the others. We could guess, but we're almost definitely going to be wrong. It's the causal effects of the technology in our case, they're way more interesting than what we can imagine there, and that's very counterintuitive because most investment firms are not going to be looking for. They're going to be looking at what's the pattern, how much revenue you got now, how can you afford it, all the rest of it. And like, I can't do that in this new model to go into business, going to the market. Um, you literally, if you can predict what it is, and you're probably not using the market to the whole effect.
A lot of the old school thinking is to create something, put it in a box, and then let people buy that box over and over and over and over again. And that
Yep.
worked.
Oh
But
yeah, sure it did.
right? But now I don't think we're in the same environment. And so the
No.
same strategy, I think this is what you're alluding to, that same strategy of create it, put it in a box, and then sell it over and over and over again doesn't exist anymore. And
Yep.
what I am hearing you kind of explain almost feels like this is crowdsourced innovation. This is a big
Yeah,
group
yeah.
of
This
people
is
innovating on
providing
your
tools. Yeah, this is providing tools to people to innovate themselves. So where we have seen this work is in um, closed marketplaces in the gaming world, right? So if you look at Roblox, if you look at Minecraft, right, they've got their own little world, and people invent stuff inside that world, and they do amazing, amazing things. We've just done exactly the same, but instead of doing it inside a virtual world, we're doing it in the real world. We're providing tools. We're Legos for private and secure communication on the internet. What would you like to do if you really knew that the communication across the internet was A, super easy to do, and B, it was totally private and secure, what could you do?
Mm.
Um, that's what we're putting out there. And I can't tell you what all the use cases are. I can't tell you what the biggest use case is going to be. I literally cannot.
Well,
Just in the same way as Roblox can't tell you what the most important game is inside their game.
right. My kid plays both Minecraft and Roblox, and two things that just blew my mind. So there's this game inside of Roblox because
Yeah,
Roblox is just the ecosystem. Now you have all these
it's
like
the ecosystem. Yeah,
things that people create. So they created this thing called Road to Granby's, and it is just an open world where you have like these building blocks, and he builds things out of it. He built an
yeah.
airplane and a race car, and and the tools that they're given to create these things are just unbelievable, and what they come up with is unbelievable. Now, on the other hand, when it comes to something like Minecraft, I don't think Minecraft ever knew that somebody was going to use Minecraft to create a computer in Minecraft that plays Minecraft.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an insane even idea to imagine happening, but nobody knew that that was a possibility. And now that it is, what does that mean? And I love that that's a part of what you're doing. So,
Yeah.
what sort of challenges or bottlenecks now present themselves because of this playground environment that you create? Is it that you
So
have too much or an abundance of
yeah,
opportunity
so
now?
yeah, this is where you've got to have really good leadership at the top of the company. So we're very lucky. We have Barbara Talent as our CEO, and obviously I think this is extremely fun and exciting because I'm the CTO. Um,
Mm,
um, but having a wider bunch of possibilities is a blessing and a curse. So which ones are you going to focus on? Which ones you're going to do? So it's really looking across all the customers that you have at the moment on and all the prospects and say what's common. Yeah, what's going to be the thing we're going to invest in? We run 2 week sprints. We're a software company, so we run 2 week sprints. And in the next 2 weeks, what are we going to deliver? And be really focused on exactly what we're doing. So we've been again, this is sort of luck or good luck, or maybe we're doing it right. But lots of our customers are asking for very much the same thing. They may have slightly different language in the way they explain it, but they're asking for the same thing. And more recently, that's been around if I've got AtSigns talking to each other and I want to provide a service, how do I provide some governance around that? How do I provide policy? And how do I provide policy that is not in a technical language, but it is in a sort of human readable language? And
mm.
I don't really need to be a technologist tool to be able to decide whether @Devon's allowed to talk to this app server for this particular service. So guess what? That's what we've been developing in the last 3 sprints. And it's magical to see customers and prospects' faces when they say, "Well, I only talked about that 6 weeks ago, and now you're showing it to me." That's exciting. So it's really not chasing the squirrel, but trying to see across the whole landscape of that really large marketplace that we're playing in, and saying which things are popping out of the noise as a real signal as to this is what we should be doing next, and then go do it and then feed it back. So um, in sales, you've got to listen hard to the customer. 2 ears, 1 mouth. That's the sort of classic sales advice, right?
Right.
And listen hard, wait 6 weeks and say, what you asked for like 6 weeks ago. This is what we got, and we're going to show it to you working. That's You want to be in that cycle as much as possible.
You reminded me of um this thing that Go High Level does. Are you familiar with Go High Level? Like the platform, it's a CRM platform.
I am not. No.
Okay,
Tell me more.
really powerful tool. And I deploy it across a number of different
Yep.
arenas. But the one thing that I really appreciate about what they do is they have this whole section of their ecosystem dedicated to ideas and innovation.
Yep.
And what they do is they allow in a forum style the
Yep.
users to go there and pitch their idea,
Yep.
but everybody can see the pitch.
Oh
So
yeah.
they
No, it's
have a
great. Yeah.
million users that all come
Yeah.
in now and up or down vote things. That gets shared with the developer team, and now
100%.
they're innovating at lightning speed. And I
Yeah.
don't know if that's something that you guys are deploying or very similar, or is that what you're kind of alluding to?
It is exactly the right way to do it. Now, that's not the normal way of doing it, but that's the
No.
way you got to deliver, 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 right? So, I was I was taught a very long time ago by somebody at MIT Sloan, Jean Robinson. She asked, she said, like, in business, you've got to deliver business value. And I was a young whippersnapper. I was like, I have no idea what business value is. Like,
Right.
what the hell is this business value thing? And what she came up with was a brilliant thing to start with me, and I'll share it with you. It's because all business value is a happy surprise. It's just a happy surprise. That's what business value is. So if you can get into that loop where you're listening hard, running sprints, and then delivering that happy surprise all the time, you're delivering a lot of business value.
Yeah, I think
It's
you got that dialed in, Colin. So as we kind of come to a close with our time together here, I wonder if we can look forward a little bit at some of the more exciting things that you guys are kind of working on. I know that we've
Yep.
already touched on a few of those things, but is there anything in particular that we haven't quite covered yet that you'd love to kind of share?
So we're at the stage now where um, people are coming to us with ideas, and we're just saying, yes, I'm pretty sure you can do that. And we can help. But the exciting stuff is when you start seeing the market coming to you. So, 5 years ago, everyone looked at us very strangely and said, like, privacy's dead. But literally, you're like, why are you bothering? I mean, why are you even bothering to do anything in privacy? Because privacy's dead. That was, if you think back, 5 years ago, you know, Facebook, Google, everyone had all your data, and we didn't think that we could do anything about it. Um, Fast forward to where we are now, I think the market's coming to a place where they're where we were like 5 years ago. Like, privacy's super important, and every transaction you do in the world, you need to have a privacy lens on it. And just this week, and this is super exciting for me, we got involved in a case which is at the US Supreme Court. We put together a briefing for the US Supreme Court around privacy um, when you need to go to a website and you have to prove that you're over 18. Why do you have to give away any other information other than the fact that you're over 18? You shouldn't have to do that, right? You should just be able to prove that you're over 18 and get whatever the content is.
Right.
Nobody needs to know anything else. You just need to prove you're over 18. And that's not the way it works at the moment. And it really, really should be. So when our ideas around, a fundamental right of privacy is, and we now have the technology and we're explaining that stuff to the Supreme Court of the United States, that's telling me the market's coming to us.
Right.
And
How
if
powerful is
if you're
that?
not thinking about privacy in every single transaction, you probably should be. And if you start thinking about it and you need help, then just reach out to us. We're an open source project, and we need as many people views as possible. You can see from our logo back here, we are a technology company, but we're focused on people's experiences.
That's very incredible as a message, and especially as you pointed out in a state of the economy where it's growing increasingly important that we stop allowing these big corporations to mine our data and leverage it
Yep.
against us. So I think that's really powerful that that's the work that you're up to. In closing, Colin, if I could get you to maybe share some advice for somebody who's out there up to it, trying to create something for themselves, and wants to know, how do you keep pushing forward? What sort of advice might you offer them?
Oh, so surround yourself with people that really believe in the mission, as much as you can, and don't ever give up, and don't listen to anybody that says, that's a really stupid idea. Because it almost definitely is a stupid idea right now, but you can see the future, and trust in yourself and have people around you. You'll find that everybody who's a really successful entrepreneur had the same beginning, and it takes grit, right? And it takes dedication. But equally, question yourself every single day and say, like, am I actually doing the right thing? Is this just, do I really believe in it? And if you do, then you just got to ignore everybody and just go for it.
Keep pushing forward. Love that. If somebody wanted to reach out to you to pick your brain further or perhaps work with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
I'd drop me an email. It's fine. Or yeah, I know my @sign's at Colin, and you can try and find out what that means, and you get all of my details from my @sign. But yeah, I am available on email for sure. Colin at @sign.com.
Beautiful. We'll make sure to link to that in the show notes so that anybody
Got it.
watching or listening can find you easily. On that note, if you wanted to reach out to me and my team for any of your marketing or AI needs, you can visit nextgengrowth.com. Otherwise, that's it for this episode. Thanks for joining us for this conversation, and I will see you in the next.